Hey everybody, thanks for watching. So now, quick reminder again, if you didn't see the last video, the sale is still going on until Monday to purchase all the 33 DVDs, digital downloads that's available for $89.99. Original price is $300, $299.99. This will only be up until Monday. And yeah, I got a lot of emails from people wanting the sale to continue, as I said, so I'm going to keep it up until Monday for those of you who requested more time. But after Monday, that's it. It's going to go back to $300. So definitely $89.99 is a good deal. I appreciate the people who've been supporting. A lot of you have bought it and purchased. A lot of new people up here who want to catch up on the videos and everything like that. So definitely take advantage of it now while you can, because Monday is going to go back to normal. And yeah, I appreciate the support. But I want to get into this whole thing. A lot of people are upset that today's shows a whole unveiling of, Nefertiti and, Tut's mother. And the whole thing with that is, okay, one, we of course understand what it is. It's just more stuff to continue the separation, to keep the argument going. This is not the first unveiling of Nefertiti's statue or, her depiction. They have depicted her a couple times and revealed depictions of her a couple times. And, each time her skin gets lighter. And it's weird to see this image. And it's a spit in the face of African people and black people when they do stuff like this. And it's on purpose. It's on purpose that they do this. And it's to get us riled up and keep us really heated and in this whole combative mode against, Caucasians, against Europeans, or what have you. And it's just a simple thing of understanding your history. Understanding, what these people are trying to do, and the fact that they have been stealing our history for years. The simple fact that, one, we come out of slavery, we get incorporated into this school system by law, and we go through school not being taught about where we come from, our history, and everything we've been through before slavery. This is a tragedy in itself, to have people come from a different country. First of all, one, take our country, steal our land, and enslave us. And then, after hundreds of years of enslavement and forgetting where we come from and everything that we've known, destroyed and lost and gone forever. Language is gone forever. So many things that we'll never even know existed that was very important to us as a people. And to go into these school systems and get taught about their, ancestors and forefathers and the people who enslaved us. And then later, in our generation, getting taught about black history, the struggle of the black man, and how, the only heroes we have to look up to is Dr. King and Malcolm X and, people like that. So we already had for a long time our history, been covered up. And thankfully, through social media, and through people having the opportunity to go to these countries and do actual research and come back and write about it. Thankfully, because of these people, we have been able to see over the years, what the true history of us is, where we came from, what we did before slavery. Now, of course, this is important for us to know because we need to understand what we really were and what we really did before slavery, and not to be sitting around believing that all we was slaves and savages in Africa, and we had no kind of sophistication, no kind of education, no kind of science, no kind of structure in Africa before slavery. And of course, we have been stunned to see the truth. Now, the crazy part about it is you have many European historians who wrote about the fact that, one, the Greeks, the Romans, Europeans, white people came into Africa to learn from the Africans. It's not just in Egypt. It wasn't just Kemet. It was Northern Africa. The people who was learned, they called Moors, as I touched on. And, of course, that was changed and diverted to the Islamic Moors, who joined with the Muslims and will later conquer with them. But for the most part, they knew and they wrote about the intelligence of African people, how we already knew about astrology, math, science, and how we taught it to them, how they came into Libya, how they came into Spain when the Africans was ruling in Spain, how they came into Morocco and all of northern Africa to basically learn from the Africans and be taught in the ways of learned people who had figured out, so many amazing things about the agriculture and farming and science and what have you. And we talked, and they themselves admit, which makes this, even more, crazy, and it points out how obviously blatant they want to be to try to steal our history. When you have the historians and you have the Romans themselves and the Greeks themselves clearly say the Egyptians were black, and they learned from them. Now, I did a video a while back, it's a DVD I believe it was, where I talked about the Aksum Empire in Ethiopia and about how the Romans came in there and basically stole artifacts and stole some of the obelisks in Ethiopia and took some of it back to Rome. And you had the obelisk on display there, and eventually you had some activists fight to bring the obelisk back. And I talked about the whole war between the Ethiopians and the Romans with Haile Selassie, and how, for years, we all know this, they've been coming into Kemet, stealing artifacts. We have monuments, Egyptian monuments all over the world in different places, stolen by the Europeans. And we have so many things that they have taken from African civilizations that you find in many different museums in many different European countries throughout the world. So, a lot of people are having a hard time understanding, white folks, why we are upset about the Today Show unveiling of this pale-faced European-looking Nefertiti. And I read a lot of the comments, and most of the white people, for the most part, are agreeing with us and saying, yeah, well, of course she wasn't that color, and that you have other people saying, well, we don't get offended when we see Black Jesus. We don't get offended when we see Black this and Black that, whoever they name, because they don't really understand why we are offended and why we are upset, because they themselves have not had their history stolen, and they haven't been enslaved and been through the kind of turmoil and oppression that we are going through and have been experiencing for centuries. And it's crazy. As soon as you turn around, there's always something, an attack on Black people, attack on African people. It's clear as day, and we keep seeing it over and over again. We can't even have a movie with Black in it because it offends them. So you have people do stuff like this for the Black Panther movie, and a lot of people are offended by that word Black because they believe Black is in complete opposition to white, and that's how a lot of white folks see it. So when you say Black history, white people immediately get offended. When you're saying black, it basically does not include them, so they feel left out and they get upset when you say something that's Black. A lot of them have been trained to be in opposition to that word, to feel negative when they hear that word. When white people are included in something, they feel left out and they act out. We have seen this so many times. And when we look at our culture and we see the fact that when we put out something as a people, they adopt it. They want to fit in. They want to take in our culture. It's something in them that wants to be a part of what we are doing. And this was the issue back even in the 50s, in the 60s during segregation, when you still had these Black entertainers putting out that music. And the music was so good. James Brown and Ray Charles and them and all those Black entertainers from that time. The music was so great and it was so powerful that it attracted them to the music. And they didn't care about skin color during that moment. It wasn't an issue. They wanted to dance, they wanted to hear the music, and they came together even though, they would separate us, at that time. But it's the same with everything that we do, as we can see. There is this inclusion. If we say Black and put the Black staple on it, they feel, like they're not included. It doesn't really, fit them, or it doesn't really include them, and they can't be a part of it. And, Black history is world history. It's not just Black history. It's the history of the world. It's the history of this country that everybody needs to know, not just Black folks. And just because we're speaking about it doesn't mean we're being negative or anti-white or negative to any white people, period. It's just we're talking about what happened. If something happened to you, you reserve the right to speak on it when you want to, no matter who's involved. No matter who's involved. If my parents or my family killed somebody in your family and you spoke on it, I'm not going to feel no type of way when you speak on it. I'm going to feel like, sorry, I should say. I ain't going to say feel no type of way, but I'm going to feel like bad for you guys. I won't be in opposition to you speaking. Or I won't be offended with you speaking on some sort of tragedy that happened to you because of, my family or ancestors. It's a shame that it happened. And I would support the person, any way that I can to help them get through it. I wouldn't tell them to shut up and get over it. And this is what we're hearing. We're being told to shut up. I don't understand why you guys are mad. It's just a skin color. Because our history is being stolen. Now, I've been to Kemet multiple times. Just came back there, and I was there in August. And of course, took a picture next to Tut statue, clearly black. Everywhere you go where you see this man in Kemet, because as I said before when I told you guys, there is no debate when you get there. Today's Show can talk all the stuff they want. They could bring on any scientist and say all this crap they want on TV because they control TV. They control the media. That's theirs. The people who trying to steal our history and who run this whole white supremacy system controls the media. So they could put this out there and press some buttons and get the whole race thing riled up again to get us mad, excited about the whole thing. But when you actually go there, it's clear as day. As I said, when we walked around there, first of all, they destabilized that country for a reason, to keep us from going there, because they understand knowledge has increased and it's increasing, and that black folks might want to go back to Kemet, go back to Africa and see what's going on. Yeah, when you go there, even all the depictions of Nefertiti, of Tut, Akhenaten, black. Their mummies, black. Clear as day, there's no denying it. The people at the Cairo Museum, the people who basically run all the guides and the people who's running the whole thing that's going on down there with the pyramids and all the temples and everything like that. All of the Arabs there, every black person you see, they say welcome home. They know clear as day what their history is and that they are invaders. And they are not shy about talking about it. Why else would they put our people on display and not their own? They have museums with our people in it. It's not their ancestors. And they do not say it's their ancestors because they know it's not. They call you Nubian. They call you Pharaoh when you come. They call the black women queens. And I took the picture with Amir and with a couple other people who, as soon as I seen them, welcome home, Pharaoh. And because they know. And when you go into the tombs, when you look at the depictions, when you go to the Cairo Museum, you see it. You see black statues. You don't see no statues that look like this. You see black faces. Plain and simple. When you go to the gift shop and you buying stuff, it's black. This black from Kemet. It's a lot of money. But you can get these. You can get all kinds of other artifacts that ma'at up there that you see in the window is from Kemet. I got it from a friend that was selling it in America. And if you've seen my statues that I posted that I got from Kemet, that is back in Sweden, same thing. They are not selling statues that look like this. You don't see that because it's unrealistic and it's bullshit. We also, of course, have their own historians. You have Herodotus in 2.104 talking about the Egyptians being black in the writings of Herodotus many times. This is why some of the people called him crazy. He was a liar. He lies a lot because he said that we was black. Likened to the Ethiopians, to the Nubians, who are dark skinned, as everybody know, which Ethiopia means burnt faced. So it's clear, I don't want people, I'm saying this because I'm putting this out because I don't want people to get too riled up. It's okay to get, upset, of course. I will be. I definitely was when I seen it, which is why I posted on Instagram for those who follow. And of course, but understand what it is. It's them keeping the controversy going, keeping us at each other's throats, misdirection. When you know your history, which is why I put out these videos to try to get this information out there. When you know your history, you know what's going on, you know what they themselves speak about, what the history books are talking about. then this is not a problem. This is deception. This is them trying to get a big story and keep people arguing and separated because it's part of their agenda. Now, I talked about the whole sub-Saharan African thing and the, whole agenda of them trying to steal Northern Africa, which how all that plays into the whole Moors thing and what's going on with the Morocco and what happened with Spain and everything like that. And how when you go to Northern Africa, you see closer to the water, light-skinned people. And this is from when, of course, the Romans took over the area, which, it's stupid, because they put out their own history and we can see what happened. So you're telling me the people that they conquered in Northern Africa was white when they came in there and conquered it. So why is it, a big issue when we say that, no, Africa was black? So was the Europeans conquering themselves when they came into Northern Africa? No, it was obviously conquering African dark-skinned people. And that's what people was not getting. So when people say, you have these idiots who say, well, ancient Egypt was never black. What are you talking about? How is ancient Egypt never black when you go there and everything's black? It's Africa. How is the majority of the country, the entire country, completely black? Everywhere in Africa, the entire country is black. We're talking about before colonization. And then all of a sudden now, back then, it wasn't no black folks. Just this one little piece of land just happened to be white folks. When we go in there, we don't see no white folks at all. And the simple fact that melanoma, the sun will destroy y'all. There's no way in the world you will survive there, which is why you live in the north of Africa, close to the water, and the south of Africa, close to the water. Because if you live any further inland, you will get burned to a crisp. And you know it. Melanoma will destroy y'all. It's killing over 200,000 of y'all a year. There's no way in the world you could rule in Kemet, in ancient Kemet, when the sun is at its hottest. There's no way. There's no way you would be dead, which is why they allowed the Arabs to take it, because they would rather the Arabs take over the country and create doubt and cast doubt on people who are looking at the history than us Africans going in there and figuring out what was taken from us and what's really going on, which is why they allowed, as I said, the Arabs to come in there and do what they did. What other people dig up their dead and put their bodies on display, raid the tombs and everything like that and make money off of it? Nobody else does that. Everybody else respects their ancestors and respects the dead of their people, and they don't put that stuff out there like that. You don't see George Washington's body out there. You don't even see Abdul Malik's body out there on display by the Arabs, or any of these so-called holy people's bodies out there on display for tourists to come and pay money and take pictures and everything like that. It's crazy. Of course they would do it to a people that's not theirs. But the whole thing with Northern Africa and them and the whole sub-Saharan thing is, again, them trying to steal history. It's just easy to see. So everybody that's not Northern Africa is sub-Saharan and deemed dark. And, all of the culture and all of the knowledge that came out of the north, they want to try to steal for themselves. And again, when you go into Morocco, which the Moroccans are completely ignorant of their culture and their history. And people believe that because their people existed for, a few hundred years or 1,000 years, that somehow gives them complete and total claim over the land, not realizing that, no, your ancestors came in there and took it from African people, which is why you're in Africa. You're in the north of Africa. There are some remnants still of black people there. Same thing in Egypt when I went there. I was shocked to see so many black faces. Africans are there still. And even when you look at a lot of the Arabs, of course, their skin is dark. Not as dark as mine, but still dark. Not nowhere near light as that statue in most cases. So it's ridiculous. And it's one of those things where when you understand the history and what's going on, you can see right through this stuff. But my whole point is I don't want people to get, too riled up about this joke, because it's a joke. It's funny. When I seen it, I was like, I knew when they took the cloth off that it was going to be some pasty-faced bitch there looking like, she from Europe. And it's crazy. And clear as day, when you look at the depictions of her, Nefertiti, that she has African features and she's in no way this light. But by them saying that, the Arabs are there and it can kind of cast out on people who are not knowledgeable, who do not do their research. But we know 14th century BCE, nobody with that skin complexion was ruling in Kemet. That's for damn sure. Nobody with that skin complexion would survive that long in Kemet. That's for damn sure. No Europeans. It's not even, bordering on, Arab, or like a light-skinned black person. It's white to me. And I'm like, what? And it's crazy. So a lot of people definitely is pissed off about it, but it's just another one of those things that they are trying to do to steal our history and keep us, pissed off. So again, as I said, there is no debate. There's no question when you actually go there in Kemet. You can see what's going on. You can see what happened. And for the most part, a lot of the depictions that you see are completely dark skin. Even the ones that you look at that you see is like reddish brown or light brown. A lot of them was changed from dark, from black. And as I showed you guys in the picture, you have this Arab tour guide here, the guy who basically takes care of this tomb, showing me how the Greeks and the Romans came in there, and the Egyptologists of today, how they came in there and they took the black off a lot of the reliefs on the wall, how they changed the color. Now, it's one thing when you actually go there and it's being pointed out to you. It's even crazier when you see it on, mainstream media, on live TV, that the result is this, that you see exactly what they are doing and what they're trying to do. And the fact that, one, the true story, where you have people telling you clear as day, hey, they have been changing skin color and changing the depictions from black to just, regular sand or to lighter skin. And they've been doing it for years. They've been doing it for a long time. And it's crazy. It's crazy. This is important to us because it's our history, and it's the little bit of history that we have left that is being stolen. We can see clearly what they are trying to do because they own the media, because they run Hollywood. They can depict what they want, and they put into the minds of people that this is the truth, and people are buying it, clear as day. Which is why I tell you guys, you need to know your history and know what's going on and know what happened. We're putting too much time and energy behind this, and this is not real. They're giving you a fictional story, a fictional character of a fictional land. And I heard some people say, how you know it's fictional? How you know it wasn't real and they got it from an actual real place? You should know damn well you can't trust mainstream media to give you any kind of truth about African history. There's always an agenda in there somewhere. So again, while a lot of people are excited and we're all excited about the Black Panther movie, you got to remember this is still Disney. This is still a company that's racist. It's still mainstream media. It's still controlled by the same people who are, pushing white supremacy and, pushing this whole system that has been oppressing us, since day one. So we got to remember that. And a lot of people, are not going to be able to look deeper into the Black Panther movie once it comes out, which the reason why I'm going to see it because I want to look deeper into it and see what they're really trying to say and what they're really hiding. If they stick to the whole Marvel universe thing and the way it's supposed to go, then it should be fine. But we know they don't do that. It's always a hidden agenda when it comes to Marvel, which is why I tell you guys to make sure you watch. But, we can't keep, putting so much time, effort, and money into stuff that's not really supporting us. And it's used as a trick to get us to be, to jump on to something that's going to help them fulfill their agenda, basically. So we got to see it for what it is, and don't go there when you go see this movie and get too drawn into, the action and, the power and everything like that and how good we look in the movie. Understand what it's about. Understand it. Don't get caught up in the trap. Don't get caught up in it. Understand it's fictional and there's agenda behind that movie. So we'll see once it comes out what it's really about and what the theme is really saying. So I'm pretty sure that, it's going to be a lot of people that's going to see it. And already, as I showed you guys, when they're putting out stuff like that, be careful, be mindful, and, definitely be on your toes when you go to these movie theaters when the shit come out, because who knows what's going to happen. And I said that before, but just be cautious. because they like to do shit like that. So when we look at the historians and the people who knew about antiquity and wrote about it, again, nobody has ever mentioned in any book that when the Greeks or when the Persians or when the Romans came into Kemet, that they was conquering white people. They all say the same thing, that they were conquering African people, black people, plain as day. So, of course we know about the Ptolemaic era, as I talked about in Ancient History Part 2, about the whole wars of the Diadochi. We know this is the time when the Greeks came in and took over. And you have, of course, at this time, white people ruling in Kemet. There is no time before this time that you see depictions of Greeks dressed as Egyptians. They want to be us so bad. So bad. When they conquered us, the first thing they did was put our clothes on, dressed like us. Change their society to try to mimic ours, and change what they was doing to mimic ours. We see on the dollar, which has not changed. They keep their dollar that same way. All the bills have changed since that dollar came out, except for that dollar. And that's their crest. That's their seal, their decree. Their empire has been crowned a success. And we see that pyramid there because it stems all the way back to the time when they conquered Kemet and they got the knowledge, which is what all that stuff is about. And we can't get too drawn into this shit. Know your history, know what's going on, see through it all, and don't be getting in these heated debates with these folks who ignorant. Plain and simple. Let them be ignorant. If you got the knowledge, then you know the truth. I just usually point people straight to a book and be like, Wallace Budge, or you have another white man we could point to, R.A. Swallow the Lubics, your own historians, Herodotus, Diodorus, all these other historians and people who lived and was there to actually, witness. A lot of people don't understand that Herodotus was actually there when the Persians was ruling in Kemet, about 75 years after they was ruling. Herodotus was there, and Herodotus says it clear as day. They were black. So all you got to do is point them in that direction and say, well, the people who was actually there, the people who lived during that time, who seen these people, all say they were black. When you go into the tomb of Seti I, Ramses III, the depictions of themselves, they depicted themselves and said, this is us, black. Plain and simple. And it's clear, it's easy. We don't got to get all frustrated by this. Just understand, it's laughable. It's a joke. It's a joke. They funny to put that crap out there and try to get people to believe that that's exactly what she looked like. And the stupid the guy is like, oh, it's accurate and, DNA and everything like that. It's bullshit. When you control mainstream media, you can say whatever you want. You can come on TV and say whatever you want when you run that shit, but we all know the truth. So as hard as it may be for some of you really touchy, emotional Europeans, you white folks, plain and simple, when you do the research, and a lot of you know this already because I speak to a lot of Europeans, a lot of white folks, they know that they stole everything. And as hard as it is for you to accept that, it's the truth. You stole this country. You stole everything. Everything was stolen. Majority from us. All of it from us, you might as well say. And that's your legacy. The fact that mainstream media is controlled by the people who want to hide your legacy doesn't make your legacy not true. It just means the bad guy won. You guys are in control, so you can control the narrative and what things look like and how things are perceived. But in reality, in truth, it's stolen. Your culture, stolen. Everything that you have these people in these European nations proud of and thinking that they discovered and have on their own was stolen. Math, science, astrology, stolen. Everything has been stolen. The position you are in right now is because of theft, because you took advantage of a people who wanted to help you and stabbed them in the back. Your history is a sham. And you have a lot of people who want to rewrite that history and want the truth to come out. And it's either you're going to accept the lie or you're going to look for the truth. That is the hard truth right there. It's the facts. Murderers, rapists, your ancestors, you know it. And it's history. And just because we're speaking on it don't mean that we got a problem with you personally. We got a problem with the history and the fact that the people who is running this system is not telling the truth. They making us look bad and oppressing us when they are the ones who are in the wrong, when they are the ones who are the murderers and the thieves and the conquerors. And we are the ones who are rightful to this land and rightfully should be in power, plain and simple. And that's been taken. And we have already been on record and proven as one never attacking no country. Kemet never attacked nobody. You can't go back in history and find an African country that attacked another country outside of Africa or tried to conquer anybody outside of Africa. The Africans, the Egyptians have never tried to conquer the world. Conquest is not in us. It's a European construct that they created, that they facilitate, that they have been doing for hundreds of years. You guys know this. War. That's all this government has been doing since America has been established, has been going into other countries, taking it over, stealing its natural resources, colonizing the place, mixing them with the people, and then now here you go. You go to Jamaica, you got white Jamaicans. It's crazy. You go down to Mexico, you got white Mexicans. White people go wherever they please and live wherever they please and don't pay no damn respect to the natives and the people who the land rightfully belong to. And it's not everybody, but it's the majority of white folks. And it's just every single race is looked down if you ain't white. You are a minority to the white folks, a minority to them, to white people. And that's crazy. You know, you go into an African land, you're still the minority to them. You're still, inferior to them in Africa when you have African people not being allowed in places in Africa. So now, the only way things is going to change, the only way things is going to get better is if you guys embrace the truth and stop defending it. Every time somebody talk about black history, somebody get offensive. Every time we say black, somebody feels some type of way. What's the problem? We're not talking about you. We're talking about history that existed before you that affects us. Plain and simple. So, as soon as you say something that has to do with slavery or the past or Jim Crow or civil rights, somebody feels offended. It's always an issue with that. Until you guys start embracing the truth and what your ancestors did and what happened for real, then we're going to have this conflict. It's deeper than just the skin color. It's deeper than just this whole show, this whole segment they had on the Today Show. It's deeper than that. It's a lot more to it, as everybody should know, especially when you look at what has been taking place in this country over the last couple of years. It's a lot more to it. And, people want us to just turn around and act like we don't see what we see when we are educated. And a lot of people are awake now and understanding of true history. We can't just sit back and be quiet and accept it no more because we know the truth. We're going to speak on it. So, I wanted to put this out real quick and just touch on it real fast. So, people who are not in the know about the history, we're going to keep running into this problem. And it's important for you guys to keep learning so you can teach your kids so they can know and see what they're trying to do to our history. And we can correct and rectify this bullshit because it's crazy for them to do what they just did and put that out there like that. But I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Thanks to everybody who's been supporting. And don't forget, the sale will end on Monday. So make sure you cop all 33 of the DVD digital downloads. And I appreciate the support. And I'll see you guys next video.